Daniel Ehrenberg. This is the news. Welcome to the franchise, episode number 75, an anniversary episode. Is that wrong?
I feel like we've done a lot more than 75
episodes. 275.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
There you go.
That's the ticket. Here he is, the D-Train Daniel Ehrenberg, growing up, as ever, in the hills of Essex, Massachusetts. And over here, I'm actually in Brooklyn. I'm talking about the movie we're covering today. Over there's the H-Bomb. Welcome.
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, a little, I think Dan and I I'm going to assume, I think a little hint of that earlier, and in a text prior, Dan and I have probably been inundating ourselves with a lot of Norm Macdonald clips over the last week.
Well, that's why we're covering this pretty much. I mean, we had it locked and loaded because the great P. Dot, as the summer of P. Dot continues into the fall, he, a while back, picked 4 two-movie Happy Madison franchises. And, we were waiting to get to them. And then fucking Norm passed away. And that was a big deal for Henry and I. I think I knew it would be for you, like, the second I heard about it. Like,
yeah,
he was really important to both of us and probably influenced our senses of humor a lot.
Oh, sure.
And,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he really opened up comedy and made it seem possible to do new things using old setups.
Yeah, old setups and kind of just, even from a Weekend Update standpoint, just truly not giving a fuck, like how his jokes were received. And I think that a lot of his, if any influence kind of rubbed off on us at all, it was definitely, I think, that sometimes his jokes were just like, in certain ways that they were for him in a second. You had to think for a second. You had to like he doesn't really care. Like he lands punchlines and it's like, all right, you get it or you don't get it. It's fun,
Yeah, he's also really fine taking his time and just making shit last forever and making you wait for the punchline and anticipate the punchline. And then when the punchline is just like a silly joke punchline, you appreciate it all the more. He's wonderful. He was wonderful at that.
His setups are just unparalleled. I mean, he's like, every time he starts a story or a joke that I feel is going a long way, I'm already like starting really to lose my shit. Like before anything, laughing is.
You hung on to every word, and. And he did have sort of an anarchist spirit in sort of this very straight-laced Christian body. And, I always respected the way he stood up to Ohlmeyer at Saturday Night Live. I don't think he ever felt bad about getting fired. I mean, except for maybe losing the money. But, like, I mean, that to me is an uncompromising artist. And they're becoming fewer and fewer and fewer every day.
Yeah, I was able to check out, among many other clips and things I watched, an episode of one of my old favorite shows, Dennis Miller Live.
I watched that too, and all I could think is, what a bummer that Dennis Miller outlived Norm Macdonald. Like, shouldn't that guy be dead?
It's so sad, though, too, because, like, you can't watch Dennis Miller for the last 20 years, but, like, how fucking great he was.
But I watch Dennis Miller Live now, and I'm like, oh, he was always bad.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that at all. But his interview with Norm Macdonald, he did it, I think, four appearances, but he has the one with him and Spade, and it's just fucking great. And it's right after the Ohlmeyer thing. And just great.
Yeah, Spade was still, I mean, he had just left, right?
Yeah. And he'd done Tommy Boy on it, but
sure.
It's
well,
really
we're talking
funny.
about David Spade today. Today on the show, the first of P. Dot's Happy Madisons, and we'll cover the 3 later down the line, the other 3. But today, we picked one of the ones that Norm is in. Now,
yeah,
I mean, all right.
Great choice.
I know. All right, it's Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2, We did fuck up, frankly. We wanted to sort of celebrate Norm this week. And we had Deuce Bigalow locked and loaded, which he's in. Yeah. And we could have done it, but I couldn't remember. I thought he had like a legitimate part in this Grown Ups thing because everybody's in it. Yeah. And so I asked Henry which he would rather do, Deuce Bigalow or Grown Ups. He chose Grown Ups, which I respect. Deuce Bigalow seems like a nightmare.
I've seen the first Deuce Bigalow. I've never seen either of these two, and given the pedigree, I figured, oh, how bad can they be? But we did think Norm was in it.
He is.
Turns out he was, but his scenes are deleted.
He's in the movie.
Didn't see him.
I did.
You
Henry.
saw?
I'm surprised that you didn't see him.
I did not see him.
He is at the water park, and, you know, they go down this big slide.
Yeah.
Right? And they're in the water, and a man gets out of the water with a big wedgie, and you see his whole buttocks.
It's the guy who's running the slide.
No, that was Norm.
No, I'm saying that you're saying that that's the guy. The guy who
No, the guy who's running the slide was Mr. Dan Patrick from ESPN Sports Center, of course.
Right.
Because he's an actor now.
Yeah, that was Norm. So you're saying the guy with the wedgie was Norm Macdonald?
I believe that the man with the wedgie was, in fact, Norm Macdonald.
I don't think that's correct.
I think you were just distracted by his butt, and I looked up at his face. You were like, ooh, look at this butt. And I was like, let me avoid the butt and look at his face, totally, you know, as a straight man.
Right, totally true. No, I looked up the credits, and it said he was supposed to be Geezer, the guy fishing by the lake house.
What do you mean the guy fishing by the lake house?
They are. Their big house by that pond.
The big house by the... But how do you know, did it say Geezer, comma, the guy fishing by the lake house?
Oh, it's in the notes in the Wikipedia page. It says Norm Macdonald filmed scenes as a character named Geezer fishing by the lake, but all his scenes were cut.
Well, I would argue he filmed another scene with his butt out at a water park. All right?
I guess we'll agree to disagree.
You know, I wondered, because his name was Geezer in the credits, whether in the script they just like wrote an old man in there, and then when they got to set, they were like, let's make it our friend instead.
I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Point is, he's
unless he was playing Geezer Butler.
That's what I thought immediately, obviously, being a huge Sabbath fan.
Yeah.
I was like, that'd be great. Yeah.
You enjoy it.
You know, regardless, he's not in the movie basically at all, regardless of who's right.
I would argue his butt is, but Henry agrees to disagree. Anyway, you know what? Norm doesn't need to be in this movie. Norm was much better than this movie.
Yes, he was, and we're talking about him anyway. I don't give a shit. So
yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about all his more successful friends.
That's how you measure success. Not respect.
Well, the world measures it by money, I would say. So Norm was less successfon as a guy who made less money and gambled away whatever he had.
Yeah, he had a gambling thing. Yeah.
On Maron, he said he lost all his money like 3 different times and had to get it back.
I know. I want to listen to that interview.
It's great, yeah. All right, let's talk about it. Grown Ups. It is... It's sort of grown in reputation over time into this sort of reviled movie. Like, people really think this was it for Sandler. Like, he gave up on this one.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. You know, this is the movie pretty much. I think Grown Ups 2 especially is what sent him to Netflix. I think it became a thing where it's like, if we keep churning out movies this bad, I think people are going to stop seeing them. But if we keep churning out these movies this bad and then, like, putting them on a free service, people probably still put it on.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they were right, because I watched Hubie Halloween and Murder Mystery, and I don't think that I would have if they weren't on Netflix.
I didn't watch either of those. Of course, he did have a great movie recently with Uncut Gems.
Yeah, of course. Every few years, he wants to stretch his artistic muscles.
Yeah. And he was great in that.
He was. He's always great. Whenever he's asked to be great, he's great.
Mm.
I don't want to fucking talk about Punch Drunk Love in this episode, so just shut your mouth.
All right. Well, I would never.
All right.
Bring that up. There's no reason to.
I knew it was coming.
No. No, but it should be said. I'm an Adam Sandler fan of. I'm a Saturday Night Live Adam Sandler fan.
Yes, Henry's a fan of Opera Man or
all those
the Hurley Boy.
Oh my God,
Asian Man.
All those things.
The Candy, the guy who's has ideas about candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the guy who sings songs at holidays.
All right.
Maybe hang on, I got more. Maybe Canteen Boy.
That's okay.
God, that's a great sketch. It's probably the best thing Alec Baldwin's ever been in.
Okay. Yeah, but of the people in the movie, no, that's not true. Schneider's my least favorite.
Sorry.
Oh, were you doing yourself?
That
sounds like an impression of me doing you.
I was doing you. I think maybe you're reverting into me at sometimes.
I don't know. Schneider is the worst. This movie's grown a reputation of being terrible.
That's pretty good, dude. All right. So, I mean, let's talk about it. It's basically just all-star comedy celebration. It doesn't have much of a plot. It's all about the cast. So what we have here is Adam Sandler. Let's just talk about our levels of fandom of each of these five men.
Okay, sure.
You've got Adam Sandler. Henry, as we've established, is into his SNL, cast of characters.
Let's rate him on a scale of 5. Just 1 through 5. Five being how much you love the person.
All right, great. Sandler.
4.
5 for me.
Right.
All right? I'm a big Sandler guy. Loved his movies in the 90s. Loved him growing up. I think he has a weirdness to him that comes through in his work a lot that I appreciate that I appreciate him bringing to the mainstream. And he's a little Jew boy, and he's,
He made it big.
He did. He made it big. I'm a Sandler head, I would say. And I've recently been filling in some of the blanks because for a while there, like everybody else, I said adieu to Sandler.
Did you?
I did, yeah. Around, I think Grown Ups, maybe. This Grown Ups, the first one, was the last one I saw for a long time. And then I watched that Hubie Halloween, Henry.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I love Sandler again. And so I went back and I just recently watched like Jack and Jill. I'm trying to see some of the ones I skipped.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And they're great, Henry. They're great.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loving every second of that. So next up we have, all right, who would be billed next if we're talking about the most famous of these folks? Maybe Chris Rock.
Yeah. I'd say him. Yeah.
What do you give him out of 5?
5.
Rock gets a 5. I'm going to give him a 4. Just because his movie output has been mostly poor.
This is not inaccurate.
Yeah.
But I didn't know we were talking just, including movies. I mean, but favorite,
I'm thinking largely in terms of movies, as this is a movie podcast.
Yeah, and we're talking about individual people and their comedy careers, I thought. Yeah, well, if we're talking that strictly, it's an SNL.
Well, not strictly. I mean, I agree. Like, Rock is the best of the stand-ups of the crew, by far. One of the top 5 stand-ups of all time, probably.
Rock.
And, but think about it. He was on SNL for like 3 years. He never really broke out except for like Nat X. And then, he got the Chris Rock show has its moments. He's got all those great stand-up specials, obviously. I kind of like his first couple movies. Your Down to Earths, your Head of States. But, he's a weird dude. He's weird about women. And He makes a lot of relationship movies that make me feel uncomfortable as a man because it's not really how I see the world.
He's not a good actor,
and he's never figured out acting. Never.
No, he really hasn't. We've covered him on this show, I think, right? He was in something we did.
Was he? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're right.
I've never thought he was a good actor ever.
No one has.
He just looks like he's waiting to deliver a line and doesn't react naturally. I think he's just too natural a guy. He can't like put on a facade for an actor.
Hey, we'll cover him again in that Saw movie.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, great stuff, yeah. But yeah, I love Rock. He was also the first or second stand-up comedian I ever saw live.
Oh.
In 97.
Lethal Weapon is what we covered him in, Henry.
Okay.
Remember, he's in the fourth one. He's going to marry Danny Glover's daughter.
Yeah, that's
Remember that scene where they all had laughing gas in that one small room?
Vaguely, yeah.
Do you remember his name was Lieutenant Butters, I believe?
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah. That sounds right. Yeah, I saw him in 97, and I'm not sure if that was the Bring the Pain tour.
It would have been, yeah.
Yeah, and it was fucking great. So I love Rock, always have.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's great. All right, next up, we've got probably Spade. We got David Spade.
Spade overall, I mean, between Rock and Spade, I don't want to really pick, but Spade's a 5. I fucking love David Spade.
Oh my
Hollywood
God.
Hollywood Minute was like shaped me.
I know.
I rewatched a whole bunch. I hadn't seen him in fucking 20 years. I was watching them on YouTube. They're fucking genius, and I love David Spade. Love him.
Henry probably is the most earnestly in David Spade's corner of anybody I've ever met in my life. Henry, he's a downright David Spade supporter.
Yeah, right? I'm just gonna take anything away from him, man. He's fucking funny, and he's great in interviews. He's great, and he's always funny.
I'm gonna give him a 3.
You don't think that?
I do think that. I mean, he's David. I like David Spade, but like his stand-up's not good. Let's say that.
I've only seen the one that was like 22 years ago, and I loved it.
He was good on SNL in his few years there, and he had a couple of good movies with Farley at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I mean, I liked him for a while. Like, Just Shoot Me is pretty good too. I have time for that show. That was better than its reputation. You know, it's kind of weird. It's got Laura San Giacomo from Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Yeah.
George Siegel. And, but then he really just, like, after Joe Dirt, he made that Joe Dirt and then the Benchwarmers, and then he was on that show. He was on that show, Rules of Engagement, for like 7 years.
I'm careful with SNL alum movies. You're way more loyal about that shit. You'll see almost any of them try.
Well, all I'm saying is I'm giving an informed opinion, baby. You're picking and choosing.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, we're gonna see Joe Dirt because that's another one of P-Dot's picks.
Oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, I just think Spade's hysterical, and in watching one of those. Can't remember what it was. One of the million clips I was watching, they were talking about Norm, and they were talking about Dennis Miller and all that shit. And Miller said how literally David Spade was terrified to go to parties during those years of Hollywood Minute, like literally legit terrified because he was so scared that he would get beat up by celebrities he made fun of.
Right. I mean, he's had some issues in the past, but
not just Eddie. That's the big one everyone remembers, the Eddie Murphy.
Oh, right. Yeah, he wouldn't come to SNL for a while after that.
Yeah, but it was a lot of different people. But anyway, so Spade's a 5 for me.
He recently guest hosted Bachelor in Paradise, and I enjoyed him on there.
I'm sure you did.
Mm-hmm. How about Mr. Rob Schneider?
Yeah. I'm throwing him a a 3 for Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving it there.
Evaluating Schneider, making evaluations.
Giving him the 3, the 3 man.
The 3-ster. 3 Burrino. All right.
Yeah.
Rob Schneider. Yeah, I'll give him a 2, I guess. I don't know. He's all, you know.
If you do that, then I might join you.
Staunch Republican. Staunch Republican.
Huge. Hardcore.
Yeah.
Hardcore. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not a fan. Come on. I like his SNL shit, but after that, it was Deuce Bigelow. No. He was in like a million sitcoms that were all bad. He sucks.
Fine, I'm dropping to 2.
Thank you. Now we have Mr. Kevin James, who is joining this crew. Sandler, of course, famously wrote the first draft of Grown Ups in the 90s. And he wrote this role for Mr. Chris Farley, who... and he died. But in the years after Chris Farley's death, Adam Sandler realized something. I have made friends with another fat man, so maybe I should take this script back out.
Good God.
Good God. So here he is, KJ, Mr. Kevin James.
Look, I mean, there's a lot of things to say about this movie. I'm sure we're going to say a lot on. I don't know what he's doing here. I don't really understand his presence, but you just pretty much explained it to me. I don't hate Kevin James or anything like that. He has that quality that some comedians have where they just don't make me laugh. So Kevin James, nothing personal, but I want to put him above Rob Schneider. So I'll go 3.
I'll give Kevin James a 4.
Yeah, I figured you like him more than me. And contrary to popular belief, or contrary to Daniel probably believe, I actually have seen King of Queens, several episodes of that.
Well, King of Queens, Henry, what a classic sitcom. I am not joshing you. I'm a fan. I've seen every episode multiple times. Doug Heffernan is my King of Queens. When I'm walking through Queens, I'm like Doug right now.
Yeah.
Kinging it all day long with my best friends, Deacon and Spence. All right? And my wife, Carrie. All right?
Sure.
And my job at IPS, the International Parcel Service, with my boss, Supervisor Boyle.
Wow. Yeah, why am I'm always I'm always surprised. Not always, but when I think like, yeah, you've seen a few episodes of something. Not only have you seen a few episodes of something, you can name every fucking character in it, and you've seen it multiple times.
That's right.
All I remember about that show is Leah Remini and fucking Jerry Stiller.
Oh, you mean Carrie's father, Arthur Spooner, who lives in the basement? Yeah.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Now, what a classic show that is. And he's a great stand-up as well, I would argue. He's got one great special called Sweat the Small Stuff on Comedy Central.
I saw that. That was funny.
Yeah. And then he sort of met Sandler, and I kind of think that was the end of him. In his movie career, he's really focused on being a fat guy who falls a lot.
Right.
And he wasn't always that. He was more of like an agile performer when he was younger. Yeah. And I feel like now he just does pratfalls and thinks that's funny. So
and he's not that good at them. I mean,
I kind of don't think so either. I don't think it's his forte.
It isn't his forte. First of all, the master, of course, is Farley, and if he's trying for the fat guy falling, which is what he is. He's not
he is no fucking Farley.
I mean, close.
He's better with vocal tics and with physical comedy with his face and his hands and stuff. Like, it's not about just like flopping on the ground and falling out of a pool or something. Like,
yeah, dude, because Farley put like every fucking fall he did, it was like he was involved in that fall with his entire being and soul. And he always had a little bit of a reason or lead up to it, and he didn't just fucking fly backwards for no reason for a laugh.
If Kevin James ever tried to do a cover version of Matt Foley, yeah, it would be a nightmare.
I don't want to think of that.
All right, but I'm a fan of KJ, and we will be covering Paul Blart on this show because that was another P-Dot pick.
Great stuff.
And I've never seen the second one, so I'm looking forward to it.
Uh-huh.
All right, he did try another sitcom called Kevin Can Wait. I did watch every episode of that as well, but it was very bad.
Yeah. Guess he could wait. Yeah.
Oh, Henry, what a joke.
Now is that spelled Kevin Can Wait, WEIGHT?
Henry, that's genius. You should have been there to pitch.
Maybe it would have lasted another episode or two.
Yeah. No, it was just Wait, WAIT, but I think your title's better.
Missed oppo.
Huge missed oppo. All right, so Grown Ups, he dusts off this script that he wrote with Mr. Fred Wolf in the 90s. He was an SNL guy.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't recognize it.
Yeah. You know, he wrote all those for years. Fred Wolf.
He's like a Downey.
I mean, I think he came into the game later, but yeah, he's one of those guys, like on the crew. He also, I see, has writing credits on Black Sheep, Dirty Work, Joe Dirt, Dickie Roberts. So he works with these guys all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So he does Grown Ups. He goes on to, by the way, direct Joe Dirt 2. So we'll be looking forward to covering him.
Good for him.
Yeah. He also directed The House Bunny, by the way, which I kind of think is an okay movie.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I've heard people I respect like that movie.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Anna Faris.
What happened to her?
Wait, she was on Mom for like 7 years.
Mom?
Yeah, you just don't know where she is because she's been on CBS. You're not keeping up with the CBS listings.
CBS is the purgatory of television.
Yeah, believe me, my parents have been very aware of where Anna Faris is for the last 7 years.
A lot of people's parents are more aware of where celebrities are than I am, so that's okay. Yep.
All right, so they bring in this fella, Dennis Dugan, to direct it. And, you know, he's a guy that's been around forever and has worked with them a lot. He got his start as an actor. If you go back and watch 80s comedies, he'll, like, be fourth billed and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. He's in Can't Buy Me Love.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And Parenthood, with the Ron Howard Parenthood.
Oh, yeah.
But he went on to direct, of course. He directed some pretty reputable television in the 80s, including the Moonlighting finale.
Wow.
All right? How about that?
Kissed in that one, right?
I'm sure they kissed before that.
I don't know. I think that was a lot of the premise of the show, is they always came close but never did it.
Yeah, but isn't it usually the stereotype that they'll kiss, like, in the second to last season, and then in the last season nobody wants to watch it anymore? So that's when it ends.
I don't know.
All right, whatever. Dugan goes on to make comedies for the theater, Henry. His first one was Problem Child.
Oh, boy.
Which we'll cover one day, an incredible film. He did not work on its equally great sequel, unfortunately. He went on to direct Brain Donors with John Turturro and Bob Nelson. I don't know if you've seen that, but I've certainly seen the video in Blockbuster.
Good for you. No.
All right. Then he goes back to TV, but listen to this. Sandler rescues him, and that's why, like, this dude's beholden to Sandler for the rest of his life. Yeah. Sandler gets him to direct Happy Gilmore. All right. And that's a hit for Sandler. It does very well. Sure. And it's a hit for Dugan, and they give him Beverly Hills Ninja.
Okay.
All right? A fine film with Chris Rock and Chris Farley.
Yeah.
You've never seen that?
No.
Boy, you want to see Chris Farley fall down. There's a lot of that in that movie.
Is that that's his last one, right?
No, his last movie, of course, is Almost Heroes, a comedy about Lewis and Clark's adventures, where he and Matthew Perry play, like, they're competitors of Lewis and Clark.
Jesus Christ. I don't remember that at all.
Isn't it weird that his and John Candy's last movies were both, like, weird Western comedies?
A little odd, yeah. A little odd.
All right. Then, Dugan directs Big Daddy, an incredible film.
Yeah.
He directs a couple of Pilots for UPN, Love Boat: The Next Wave, and Shasta McNasty, widely considered one of the worst television programs of all time. All right?
Okay. Good title, though.
Yeah. Well, would you believe that halfway through they tried to retool it, killed the McNasty, retitled it simply Shasta?
No.
Yeah, that happened.
No, it doesn't work.
All right. He goes on to direct Saving Silverman, a film I've seen a lot of times. Saw in theaters.
You're a big fan of that Jason Biggs fella.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good movie, but I like it. It's Biggs, Steve Zahn, Jack Black. They're the team in that movie. And they play a Neil Diamond cover band, and at the end of the movie, Neil Diamond shows up.
Yeah.
And R. Lee Ermey played their high school coach or something.
Of course he did.
Yeah. All right.
Fucking R. Lee Ermey, man.
Yeah. Then he directs National Security, Henry, with Martin Lawrence and Steve Zahn again. Loves working with Steve Zahn.
Well, Steve Zahn's good.
And I'll tell you, I've seen National Security, and it's a weird movie because Steve Zahn has like more screen time in it than Martin Lawrence.
That is weird. Yeah. For sure.
All right. Then, let's keep going with this shitty career. He directs The Benchwarmers, all right, with Spade and Schneider and Napoleon Dynamite. Then he does I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, about Kevin James and Adam Sandler maybe being gay and definitely being firefighters.
Very, very with it movie, very hip of the times.
Fun fact about that movie. The original script was by Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor, and the original title of that movie was, get this, Flamers, because they're gay firefighters.
Holy shit. Alexander Payne?
Yeah, I know. You know, he's got a couple of weird ones like that, like Jurassic Park 3.
Sure, but I was thinking more in terms of, like, I thought he was, like, smarter and a little more enlightened.
Well, I would say the original script was probably smarter and more enlightened, and then someone got a hold of it and turned it into an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, calling it that. Jesus Christ. All
right. Next up, he directs You Don't Mess with the Zohan, one of the few Sandler movies I haven't seen, which I will see soon. It's on my list. Then he does Grown Ups. Then back-to-back, same year, Jack and Jill and Just Go With It. He's working with Sandler a ton. He does Grown Ups 2. And then Sandler made the move to Netflix. And Dugan did not follow. I don't know why. Yeah. Maybe he just retired or something. Yeah. But after Grown Ups 2, he only made one other movie. Last year, he wrote and directed a sort of big romance. I don't know. It looks like one of those Gary Marshall movies or something. It's called Love, Weddings, and Other Disasters. So I got to think this is sort of like a passion project that he recently put out. I don't think it got good reviews, though.
All right.
It's got an 11 on Metascore.
That's the Dugan. The Dukes.
That's
Denny
the Dukes. Boy, we spent a lot of time on that guy. But what a career. So many movies.
A lot of movies.
Big movies. Now, this movie, Grown Ups, came out June 25th, 2010. Henry ignored it. I saw it when it came out on video.
Okay.
Yeah, DVD, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't give a fuck. I mean, I remember when it came out. We were friends then. Yeah, I didn't care.
We were. It cost $80 million to make.
Whoa! That's some star money going on there.
It's an outrageous price to spend for a comedy like this, but I got to imagine all five of them. This is not a passion project. Like, none of them are working for scale. Like, they're all asking for like $10 million.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They got two locations, so I mean, then it's not going to that. It's all actor
salary. What are the locations? You've got
water park and a house.
How dare you? What about basketball court?
A couple of mil.
What about taco stand, huh?
All right, I forgot a couple.
There's a bunch.
Water Whiz,
yeah, which is a real water park in Massachusetts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, how about that? All right, this movie made $271.4 million. It was a big hit. Came in at number 15 at the box office for 2010, right there between Clash of the Titans and Little Fockers. the third Fokker movie.
2010 was such an incredible year for movies, and those three were up there in the moneymakers. Wow.
You better believe it. Nominated for some awards.
Oh,
all right.
I keep this up for a while, and I pretty much gave up. What do we got here?
MTV Movie Awards.
I want my MTV.
This movie won an MTV Movie Award for Best Line from a Movie of the year. They found the best line of dialogue in any movie of 2010 in Grown Ups. All right?
Wow.
And it is Adam Sandler's little daughter saying, I want to get chocolate wasted.
Sure.
See, when they're out at dinner, somebody says they're going to get wasted, maybe David Spade or something, and they explain what wasted means, Henry. And it sounds pretty good to her, so she says, I want to get chocolate wasted. Very funny.
Yeah. There were moments I laughed in this movie.
Was it that one? Lie.
No.
I'll say that I looked up that little girl. She has 3 credits on IMDb. These 2 Grown Ups movies and accepting that MTV Movie Award.
Aww.
Yeah, how about that?
That's cute.
Yeah, whatever. All right, next up, People's Choice Awards.
Oh, they were into
They made a choice.
Yeah, they always do. All right, well, here we go.
The people make the choice. It's up to the people that chooses they see fit. Choosing the People's Choice Awards. It's the choice awards to the people.
It won Best Comedy. The people loved it.
Clearly, 300 mil.
Favorite comedy of the year. All right, now it did get nominated for 1 Golden Raspberry.
Oh, all right. Here we go, folks.
God.
It's the raspberries, no razzmatazz. All we're lacking is a little pizzazz, 'cause it's the golden raspberries. It's the worst of the worst, not the best of the best. It's pizzazz gone raz.
Rob Schneider, nominated for the worst supporting actress. Actor of the year, and he lost to somebody named Jackson Rathbone, who apparently appeared in both The Last Airbender and Twilight Saga Eclipse that year, and was very poor.
He's a great-great-grandson of Basil Rathbone, the Sherlock Holmes.
I wouldn't be surprised. Nepotism runs rampant in Hollywood. We just talked about Jaden Smith last week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the movie, I guess. So, like I said, there really is no plot. It's like their coach died. It's basically the plot of The Big Chill.
Yeah, I saw your Letterboxd review, which I thought was funny. Explain why you think that. Because it's just a reunion of people reminiscing about the old days?
All The Big Chill is a bunch of loser boomers who have terrible taste in music. One of their friends dies, mercifully played by Kevin Costner. And and they all get together in this big house that they can afford because they're privileged white people, and they celebrate their friend by reminiscing and occasionally making out with each other.
Correct.
All right. Now, Grown Ups, maybe an even more mature take on the subject. All right.
Uh-oh.
They come back together in a big house that they can afford because they're rich white people,
right?
And one black guy, and they reminisce about their dead coach, who really made their high school years, and they think about their times growing up, and they mostly just like chat and see where they went wrong, and ultimately it's a message about growing up and how you can evolve into a different person, and you can't be a kid your whole life, but you're still you. You'll exist on a timeline. It has many of the same themes, wow. And they also only listen to the shitty music of their childhoods. So, I would say Grown Ups and The Big Chill are the same movie, and I would say about as good as each other.
Yeah, I'm no fan of The Big Chill. Yeah, I didn't. I have to say, after this movie was not what I expected, honestly, content-wise. First of all, I didn't know that the whole families were going to involve. So all of a sudden, it was a bit of a daddy's home situation where I thought it was like about the 4 dudes getting together.
Oh, but this is not a bro down, ho down. This is
right. Yeah, we get everybody.
It's a family weekend. All the kids are there. And all the kids, even Rob Schneider's estranged adult children are there.
Right.
So David Spade could perv over them. And you've got wives. All of them have their own wives.
Yeah.
And they're all sexy.
Yeah, well, Maria Bello.
Maria Bello. Salma Hayek.
I know that. That's the obvious one, but my heart goes with Maria Bello, always has.
I know. And they've got Salma Hayek married to Adam Sandler.
Yeah, it's great. Fantastic.
Okay, on the one hand, you can accept it because they say that Adam Sandler in the movie is an enormously powerful Hollywood agent, including specifically an agent to both Brad Pitt and Julia Roberts.
Correct.
It's mentioned. And so you can figure, she's with him for the old cashola. But, Maria Bello is flat out married to Kevin James, who works at and does not run, what is it, a pool supply company?
I think at first he says it's a car place. And then
in the first one, yeah.
He's like unemployed, or in reality.
Is the second one the one where he collapses out of his pool? Or is that the beginning of the first one?
That's the first one.
That is they kind of blend together for me a little bit.
Great. Oh, no, really? Yeah, Maria Bello's great.
Not to be confused with the Adam Sandler movie Blended.
This material is very beneath her, but, that's okay. Yeah, well, what confused me was, now you summed up the plot and the message of the story a little bit pretty nicely, a little more... giving it a little more credit than I could tell. I didn't even understand watching this movie, and especially when it was over, why it was even called Grown Ups, because I expected it to be like one of those movies where you got a bunch of people who are acting like kids and then completely stop acting like kids, like they're growing up or something.
I'll explain it. No big deal.
None of that happens, so I don't know why they didn't call it. They should have just called it like Reunion or something. Growing up.
Okay, Grown Ups is a much better and hookier title for a movie that you'd want to see.
Well.
And secondly, the film is about that, Henry. This film has an incredible message by Adam Sandler and Fred Wolf. I think they really had something to say. And I think it's good that they didn't make this film in the 90s because it allowed them to grow up themselves and sort of learn about life. And I'm sure they added their own experiences to spruce up the script and make it just that much more rich. And so I really enjoyed the way that these 5 characters, Henry, would lie to each other about their stations in life. Okay? Right. They're trying to exaggerate their job situations or their money situations, or Adam Sandler trying to get them to think that his Asian maid is simply an exchange student.
Correct.
Okay? Now, they're all doing it. And then they reach a point in the film where the lies have piled up so high, all right? And everyone's a little mad at each other. They're never that mad at each other, but they're a little mad at each other.
Yeah.
All right? That one morning where maybe Sandler's going to fly to Europe with his family. Milan. All right? That's an option. At any point, they could just go to Fashion Week in this movie.
That's right. That's right.
Sort of like a horror movie where Fashion Week is around every corner.
It would be horror for me. Yeah.
And so I think they realize at a certain point, quite simply, that they are grown-ups. And that is nothing to be ashamed of. And that they can be themselves around each other. All right? Did I get that right?
That's a very literate interpretation of stretching the boundaries of what I think was actually happening on screen, but sure.
That was my read on grown-ups.
That's your read. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my read was just basically to get 5 actor friends together and deliver one-liners occasionally, and occasionally they land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say they land a fair amount.
They do.
I think these are 5 funny guys, and they play off of each other well. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses as comics.
Right.
And I think when it gets too tied up in plot stuff or with physical comedy or with any sort of special effects or makeup, it was very, very, very bad. But I think when they're just like dicking around, trading lines, I'm all right with this movie.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I think one of the things that sort of is also a problem might be Dugan's direction, because a lot of these guys.
This is the man who brought us Problem Child. I'll remind you.
Exactly. You can remind me. Sure. So in that, I noticed that when they're together and they're just bullshitting and there's like no cutting or no moving to another sequence or anything, it works. And then there's other times where I see like a joke lands and then this guy lingers on them, and it's like a flatness, and it's like it doesn't mesh with their timing. Because I think these guys, first of all, probably of all of them, Sandler's the best actor. So, I mean, I think when they're all together, I think you get an impression that
only 2 of them can act, let's be honest.
Who do you think?
Because Rock, Spade, and Schneider are just always doing themselves. Schneider occasionally doing horrible ethnic stereotype. And Sandler and Kevin James can act.
Yeah, James isn't bad. He knows how to deliver a line, right? But more importantly, kind of stick to script and look at the look around. He looks like he's blocked correctly. But it feels a lot like
they're in the moment. They're in the scene. Whereas the other 3 are searching for jokes. Yeah,
exactly. And it feels like a lot of times that they want to break out and sort of ad-lib, whereas the script feels like 5 comedians who've gotten together and are being told what to say, and they're just not great at that. Like, they're not great at reading scripted dialogue amongst each other, and it's very odd to see. So when they're doing that and ripping on each other, it works some of the time, but the pacing of the comedy within those scenes is so poor that sometimes it just doesn't work.
You do get a sense of what their dynamic is like, though, and I'll say, I never felt until I saw this movie. I always thought that like they were all just like friends. They were on SNL together, and now I think Rob Schneider is the butt of the joke. I think the other 4 are friends, and then Rob Schneider, he's like that. You know how there's always one of those in the friend group? He's not really a friend. He's just sort of this fucking loser that you keep around for jokes. And I think that's what Schneider is to them. I mean, look at the role they give him in this movie. And they all get hot wives, and he gets this old lady. And I felt bad for that actress, by the way. All these, like, every line of dialogue is about her. Is just about how fucking old and disgusting she is.
Yeah, it's not very nice. You really think that? You think the real life dynamic, if the 5 of those dudes were out drinking or hanging out, that he's the fucking butt of the joke?
That's what I feel like, yeah. And then he's not even in the fucking second one.
No, yeah. I always felt like Spadester was probably like the one that got ripped.
But I think they rip on Spade a lot, but Spade's in on the joke, and he'll give it right back. I think if any of them are going to get hurt by somebody making a joke, it's Schneider.
Yeah, well, he's a Republican. They have thin skin.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the reason. Now he and Sandler have made up, so they say.
Oh, they had a falling out?
Well, okay, so there were rumors of a falling out around the time they were making Grown Ups 2. And then years later, they became friends again, and like they released like the true story was that Schneider was working on a CBS show, and it was a conflict, and his wife was pregnant or something. But the CBS show would have shot in the summer, and this movie shot in the spring. And so most people say, like, he would have been able to make this movie. He just would have needed a couple days off to, like, go to the upfronts and, like, promote his show.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't really check out their story.
Okay.
And so I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, Schneider's MAGA shit.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah.
Because, and it's not like Sandler is like a huge liberal or anything. Like, if anything, I mean, if I'm being generous, he's a moderate. I think he's like one of these guys who's like pretty, you know, fiscally Republican, but like,
middle of the road.
Yeah, but you know, clearly is not like a douchebag. And
his friend's going to support an anti-Semite, so that creates a conflict in the friendship. What the fuck?
Well, Schneider, right around this time, you'll recall it was during Obama's second term, Schneider was very, very vocal about being a birther.
Yes, that I was trying to remember the first time I realized Schneider was crazy, and that was it. So
he was going on TV shows around that time demanding Obama's birth certificates to find out if he was born in Kenya.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so like I think Sandler was like, I don't want anything to do with this fucking guy.
Fucking blame him. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't miss him in the second one, really. I wasn't like, I wish Schneider had a few jokes with this baby.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
This is the God's honest truth. When you just said he wasn't in the second movie, it's the first time that even occurred to me.
Wow! Amazing!
I literally didn't think about him. I didn't even wonder during the movie, where's Rob Schneider? I don't know, he wasn't there, and I just
They pretty much replace him with Nick Swardson as the weird bus driver.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And I never even thought about Rob Schneider, so holy fuck. Yeah, like I wasn't gonna say because I didn't want to interrupt you, but when you first said Rob Schneider's on the movie, I was like, oh yeah. Never occurred to me. So there you go. Yeah, he's playing like the love guru in this fucking movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's sort of a hippy dippy fella, and he's wearing a toupee, and he needs it for real, I think. So the movie, if I may, just the setup, because I really enjoyed the opening of this movie. Adam Sandler comes out. His first line of dialogue in the movie, he's on the phone. He goes, I am the biggest agent in Hollywood. And so it's like, oh, wow, they're telling us that's his job. Right, I wish more movies would start with, like, the main guy going, you know, wouldn't that be good? If, like, The Fugitive started with, like, I'm a doctor, all right? And I get myself into situations.
Yeah. They almost did that with Next Karate Kid, but they waited like 20 minutes, right? When Swank goes, maybe I'm in a bad mood because my mother and father were killed in a terrible car crash, and that made me depressed. And it's like, oh, all right.
But don't give me an exposition dump. I just want you to be straight up with me. Tell me right at the beginning of this movie what you are. What you do, let me in, you know? The American president should start with Michael Douglas just straight up into the camera going, I'm the American president.
Not the Singaporean president. Yeah.
No, straight up American president. That's me, Michael Douglas.
I'm Dr. Richard Kimball. I get myself into situations that killed my wife, and you know, I
killed your wife.
I didn't kill her. They said it because there's a one-armed man.
Oh no, one-armed mans. Why did it have to be one-armed mans?
Prosthetics and stuff. Yeah.
All right. So he's the biggest agent in Hollywood. Then his daughter comes running in. Oh, wait, the car goes rolling off, and they're like, what's happening? And they run outside. The daughter's there, and she's like, Daddy, I'm sorry. I was trying to use the Gapus in the car or whatever. And they're like, what do you mean? The
Navy.
The Navy. Yeah, the Navy, which is, she's saying navigation, but she's a little kid, so She fucks it up because the kids are stupid. So she's like, I use the Navy so you can see your friend. And he's like, what do you mean? And she goes, I got a call and it said your friend Coach Buzzer died, and I was trying to use the Navy so that you could go to heaven and see him.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh my God, Henry.
Little kid.
Can I just tell you, the strings rose, and my heart trembled for this little girl.
Yeah. I detect a modicum of sincerity in your voice too.
No, in all seriousness, all the kid actors in these movies are horrible. Every single one of them.
I've seen worse. I think it's because there's so much.
Who's the best of the bunch? Who's the best of the bunch, Henry?
There's so much other shit going on in these movies that they're not the focus, so I couldn't.
All right, KJ's got a daughter and a son named Bean. Sandler's got 3 kids. Chris Rock's got a couple of munchkins. Who's the best and worst of the kids?
I think if we're combining movies, I don't know if they're the same kids.
They're the same kids.
Same actors?
That's right.
I think Chris Rock's daughter is probably the best actor.
Chris Rock's daughter, you would argue, is yeah, you know what? I actually looked her up, and she's like in stuff.
There you go. I just called that out of the blue, but yeah.
Oh, she's on that Black Lightning, that current DC program.
Right. Yeah. I thought she was decent. Worst. Whew.
Now be very careful here. Be very careful.
Why do I have to be careful?
I'm just saying, I would be careful.
Okay.
Who's the worst of the kid actors?
I'm trying to remember all the kids.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember Schneider's kids, Sandler's kids, James's kids, and Rock's kids. So nothing to be careful
Sandler,
about.
of course, has 2 boys and a girl.
Yeah.
Rock has 2 girls and a boy, I believe.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Very nuclear families in this.
I don't know, man. Who's the worst? I don't want to dodge the question. I want to pick somebody.
Yeah, I think you should pick somebody.
Yeah, he just wants to see who I pick so that he can tell me this surprise horrible thing. Probably somebody died of an OD or something. Let's say Kevin James' daughter.
You said she's the worst, you're saying.
I said Rock's daughter.
Right. Rock's daughter's the best. James's is the worst. Okay. All right, you survived that.
Oh, what happened?
Unfortunately, somebody else did not survive that. Adam, I'm so sorry. Yeah, Adam Sandler's younger son, who of course in the second movie is shooting field goals. Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't bad.
He died of an epileptic seizure at age 20.
Oh my God. That's horrible.
I know.
Good God.
I'm just saying, this is really the only thing I knew him from when he died. So,
wow.
Everyone was pretty upset about it, and I was like, oh, the kid from Grown Ups. I mean, that's sad.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. They have medicine for epilepsy.
Well, apparently not for this particular brand of it. He was in The Descendants, which was a series of movies over there on the Disney Channel that I think we could cover if we wanted to.
Oh, of course, I thought you meant the Pain movie.
No, he's not like hooking up with Shailene Woodley or something.
I haven't seen that movie since the theaters.
You didn't see that in theaters, did you? I think we watched it together at home.
I saw it in theaters first.
Well, then you watched it again after that, because you watched it with me when we lived together.
All right, so I've seen it twice, but it's still been like a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, that poor kid. I just wanted to bring him up.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I didn't think he was bad either. I'm just, I wanted to see if maybe you'd pick him. I was trying to catch you in a trap.
Yeah, I just made a field goal joke.
What'd you say?
Good.
Oh, God. Hey, man, can I say, every joke about Steve Buscemi in that body cast, I was losing it.
Really?
I thought it was so fucking funny, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I smiled, I chuckled a couple times, but I never know sometimes what to make of the awesome, great Steve Buscemi when he's in movies like this, because I think just everybody loves him and they want to give they'd love to have him in their movie, and he just does it for fun, you know.
Yeah.
But he's so fucking funny, and like I just feel like they never can get him something great. Like I feel like he would have been.
This is what he belongs in terms of comedy. Like
I
I understand he's good in like a Lebowski or a Ghost World or something, like something more interesting, but I wouldn't want to see Steve Buscemi headlining like a mainstream comedy. I want to see him like show up and do some weird shit.
Me neither, but I feel like I could have even seen him in this movie with a little different look, being like the Colin Quinn character. I could see that.
Well, I think Colin Quinn's good in these movies.
Yeah, no, he is. But like,
isn't it fucked up? I was thinking when we were watching them that it's fucked up that we specifically watched these movies as a tribute to Norm, and then like one of the biggest parts in the movie is the dude who replaced Norm at the update desk.
Yeah. I was just gonna say rank the Weekend Update guys, but I don't have a list of them all in front of me, so forget it.
Well, I mean, they'd both be very high for me. Colin Quinn and Norm would.
Oh, Colin Quinn, not me at all.
I love Colin Quinn.
Oh, I did not. I think that was also me being a teenager, practically into my.
I bet if you watch his stuff now, you'd like it more.
Well, maybe, but I mean, also like
no. Back then, I was mad at him because he was replacing Norm.
Yeah, and I was like, probably when did Norm get fired? Like 98,
something like that. Yeah.
And so like, I was maybe a little before that.
Well, 98 was Dirty Work, so it was probably 97.
Yeah. So and I just coming on the heels of Norm Macdonald, that just did not. I'd never thought he was funny. But. You know, because like at least McDonald came on the heels of Nealon, and I always loved Nealon as a Weekend Update.
To me, that's the golden period of Update.
And pre-Nealon was Miller.
No, you can leave that to yourself. But for me,
Dennis Miller was a good Weekend Update host.
You can have him, but I'll take Nealon into Norm into Colin. That's my update.
I'll take and I'll take Miller to Nealon to McDonald.
And then, like, if we're looking past that to, like, times when I wasn't just primed for Saturday Night Live, like, you know, you go back and you watch Chevy, and that's undeniably good. Aykroyd Curtin's a good team. Why are we talking about update anchors?
I brought it up.
Okay.
There was more than I thought there were.
Honestly, the update was consistently good until fucking Colin Jost showed up.
Tina Fey was good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love Fallon as an update anchor, but I like Tina Fey, and I liked her when Poehler showed up, and, you know, I liked Cecily when she was... Who was she with? Oh, Seth Meyers. I thought Seth did a good job for a few years there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, fuck it.
All right. Whatever.
Henry. Will I ever watch that show again? We'll find out.
All right. Yeah.
All right, so in the movie, it's so difficult to talk about because there's no plot.
Not really. What do you think of the female performances? What do you think of them?
I mean, they're not characters. They're not performances. They could be anybody. They're completely faceless.
Right. But they're good. They're good in it. I mean, they're fine. Like, I mean, it was half of the thing that was like, at least like to latch on to in a movie of such insubstantial nonsense.
No,
it was just
of course.
Salma Hayek and
Salma Hayek and Maria Bello can definitely act.
And Maya Rudolph, for that matter.
And Maya Rudolph's fantastic. Yeah, and Maya Rudolph actually is funny a few times in the movies.
Yeah, well, they don't give the women very much of any funny stuff.
Never. They give Rudolph a few punchlines in the first movie, and then in the second movie they sort of try to with Salma Hayek, and it's real bad. Yeah.
Really bad. But that's fucked up because you got three people who can act.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we're not.
And if you really fucking wanted to, you could cast fucking comedians in those roles too, and really blow this thing out into, like, you know, what if Sandler was married to Kristen Wiig instead of Salma Hayek? What if Kevin James was married to 80 Bryant. I don't know.
Wow. Like no one knows why you said that.
Because they're both fat people. All right?
All right.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to give Kevin James a slightly more realistic woman, although she is probably too young for him.
I knew where you were going.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, they're fine, you know. What else? Then they bring in Schneider's adult kids, and they're around too, and they're sort of just there to be hot. The blonde one is like literally just a hot lady. The Asian one is Jamie Chung, who I mean, did you watch Lovecraft Country?
No.
Oh man, yeah, she's amazing on that. Yeah, she can actually act. She got her start, Henry, on The Real World.
For real?
I swear to you.
Real?
Yeah,
Wow.
For real. Yeah, she stopped being. What do they say? Stop being something and start getting real in the opening of The Real World. You know what I'm talking about?
30 years ago.
Fuck! This is gonna drive me insane.
The fucking first season, second season, maybe. Yeah.
Did you watch it? Do you remember like Puck? Those guys?
Of course, I watched it when it aired, dude. I was like in 8th grade. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you were in kindergarten.
Calm down. Easy.
Wait,
what is it? What do they say?
I don't care to remember, nor do I. You watched every season, right?
I mean, for a while, I didn't like watch it because it's like still on. I think like
Jesus.
I watched it like up until like the mid-aughts, like until I was in college.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I tapped out. But, you know, I know a lot of the later Real World cast members because I watched The Challenge.
Yeah, they all went on to do
and
other
they throw them on that.
That's good. Yeah.
An incredible show. Starring TJ Lavin.
I was happy to get... well, most of the music in this movie is questionable, but not intolerable.
It's just 70s bullshit. I would imagine it's more tolerable to you because you probably grew up with it too.
But I didn't like... That's not my type of music.
It's all yacht rock.
Yeah. The sole exception being when they shoot the arrow up in the sky and we get AC/DC.
Oh my God! How excited were you? What song did
Highway
they play?
to Hell, Walk All Over You from Highway to Hell. Little Bon Scott action.
That's right. Yeah. All right, they play Arrow Roulette, where they shoot an arrow straight into the air, and then try to compete to see who's going to be last to run away with it from it.
Did you think when you were watching this movie too, like you and me and some people were friends that like. We get together, we like whatever, we decide to do something crazy. Like none of these things are like actual things.
No, they cause so much property damage in these movies.
Yeah, like I did crazy shit when I was a kid too, but like none of these. Oh, they're all like ritualized. They're all like these
because they're all like in their nostalgia. Look, I get it. Like my dad has done this, where like you try to present your childhood to your son exactly as it existed back then. So like my father has taken me to Coney Island, where he worked on the boardwalk at like 14 years old, and he's like, "This, you know, this is what this means to me." I'm gonna walk you through that right now.
I'm specifically talking about.
I think that's what they're doing in these movies.
And the games and the dares and
they're
the
just
jumping.
Like, they're jumping off a thing. Like, it's not ritualized. It's just that's a thing they did when they were kids, so their kids must enjoy it. This is like this movie. It comes like right before like older people realized that like the younger generations actually have something to say and are progressive and interesting and are going to push things forward. Where like, you know, boomers were still all about how like younger generations play video games a lot.
Right.
And they're on their phones too much.
Those are very funny. One of the things I liked was when Sandler's got his one son out there. And he's just showing him picking up the rock.
That's one of the best parts of the movie. Yeah, come on, throw it, skip it. Yeah, throw it at that tree. Throw it in the ocean. Yeah.
Throw it at your brother.
Right. Yeah, do something with it.
Yeah, no, there was definitely, I'll say one thing, man. I feel like I've been saying this a lot lately, but it's the nature of the show. This movie was not good, but it was totally watchable. I was not like angry at it or like being
His first Grown Ups is amiable.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, tolerably amiable.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's bad. Like I can't, in good conscience, recommend it. But if we still lived in a world where you would flip through the channels on a Sunday afternoon and catch a comedy, this is a good comedy for that. Unfortunately, we don't live in that world anymore. We live in a world where everything's at your fingertips and you can choose literally any entertainment option at any moment. And I would say, given all the entertainment options in the world through the history of time, you don't need to see Grown Ups.
Through the history of time. Literally, yeah. Of course, always makes me laugh. Appearance by Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows is so funny in both of these movies. Tim Meadows is like one of the best parts of every movie he's ever in.
I totally agree. Anytime in Walk Hard,
he's the best part of Walk Hard.
It's him. Oh.
Yeah. This stuff will fuck you up.
It has no side effects whatsoever.
Yeah.
Damage to your body.
The stupid thing in the second Grown Ups where every time someone made fun of him, he just went, "What?"
I was laughing every time.
I was laughing every time. I even laughed when they did a callback of his son doing it.
Me too. Every fucking time I laughed at the what?
Yeah. And then Ellen Cleghorn did it.
Yeah. Ellen Cleghorn, man. When I saw her, I was like, whoa.
I'm glad they still have her phone number.
Got her landline somewhere.
Remember Cleghorn with an exclamation mark? That was her sitcom after she left SNL.
I don't.
Yeah.
She was always funny. I didn't know she had a sitcom.
She was great. I loved her on SNL, but it was always very clear she was never going to be like a breakout star.
She was in that, she was just like a token black woman, and
well, she was on the show constantly though, because they always need people to play black female characters, and they never used to cast black female comedians.
No. Right. You're right.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, should we talk about some of the other moments, the short little appearances, maybe?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dan Patrick, we mentioned.
Yeah. Buscemi, Quinn.
They were all there. Did you catch Sandler's his wife, his weird-looking wife?
Sandler's wife, you said?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Sandler's weird-looking wife? It's Selma Hayek.
No, but Sandler in real life, he's got this wife with like an enormous sort of football field for a face.
No, I did not.
Yeah, she will pop up in all his movies now. Like
really?
Yeah, she'll show up. I don't know. She's watching the basketball game at the end. She's married to like one of the bad guys.
Okay.
And she's with her daughter in the audience, who's Sandler's kid.
Jeez! Wow. Okay. I wouldn't know if she walked up to me.
Yeah. Anyway, there are way more cameo situations in the second one, but in this one, I really did love the trio of Buscemi, Quinn, and Tim Meadows. My favorite Colin Quinn moment in this entire movie is he's trying to gauge how successful Adam Sandler is as an agent, and he just says, "You think he represents Hulk Hogan?"
Then he's not that successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's very good. I also liked, direction timing could have made this better, but when Schneider's singing Ave Maria in the church.
Oh, God. That was bad.
Yes, but they're laughing at it. Could have been funny, but the way the whole thing is staged is just fucking embarrassing.
I actually agree. Yeah, there's nothing natural about it.
No, it's stupid. And
you're right. He needed someone with a lighter touch. I wonder after working with Apatow the year before in Funny People, like Apatow couldn't have set him up with one of his lackeys. He couldn't have gotten like a Nick Stoller to direct this, or
Yeah,
a Greg
you're right.
Mottola.
Yeah, see, he might have done something with this.
Yeah,
Greg
he
Mottola.
could have really made it like a connection between childhood and adulthood,
and knows how to move a camera and when the jokes lie.
Yeah, and he's a very naturalistic filmmaker. I mean,
yeah, it is interesting if you want to ever watch a movie. I think a lot of people watch comedies and don't think about the director of it. They just the actors, because you're listening a lot, and it's not as generally, you're not thinking of the cinematography, stuff like that.
I think about it more and more now.
Well, sure. But now when you watch a movie like this is how not to direct a comedy. Mm-hmm. You don't do it like this.
I think that as much as I love Judd Apatow hurt mainstream film comedy. Because Apatow's movies are so reliant on improv, he works with great improv artists. Like, those movies work, and he knows how to edit them together into something. Yeah, right. That you can say they're over long, but they work.
Oh, they work, yeah.
But I think I really do think, like, it made comedy directors and comedy writers think that they can be lazier than they can be. And I think they sit back, they rely on improv, they don't block because they figure that they want to catch something naturalistic or something in the moment, whereas they're just not built for it. Like, think of the best comedies in history. Like, when you ask someone what the best comedies in history are, they're always going to be one with a fucking script. Comedies are script first,
Right.
You need that.
And script, obviously, who's delivering the line, and pacing, and like, right off the top of my head, just thinking about, like, Michael Ritchie for Fletch. Fucking just looks like a movie, like an effortless movie that totally gets Chase's timing. Harold Ramis, master of the comedic directing. I mean, the master, probably.
You look at...
and even a Martin Brest, who we make fun of on the show, but, like, got a Midnight Run and a Beverly Hills Cop. He knows how to direct, that type of thing,
I don't know. There's guys now...
I was going back. But
yeah, of course. Like, the 80s were a good period for comedy.
That's right.
What?
Edgar Wright knows how to do comedy.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy with, like, his specific sense of timing and tone, and but in terms of mainstream comedy, I don't think there's a guy right now doing mainstream comedy that's worthwhile. Like,
I mean, can't think of one.
But they all swing wildly in different directions. Like, I mean, Todd Phillips seemed like he was going to be a big comedy director, but he, like, instantly got delusions that he was some kind of great filmmaker.
And even The Hangover, the first one, it's entertaining, but it's talk about fucking broad with no style. I mean, it's really...
of course. I mean, the guy before The Hangover directed, like, Road Trip.
Yeah. I mean, so no, I think you're right. It's difficult to name.
It's fun. The comedies now that are well directed tend to get overrated. It's why that movie.
Rare.
when that movie Game Night came out, like, critics went apeshit for that movie, and same thing with Booksmart. Like, people went nuts for those movies, and I think it's just because they're well made. Like, I kind of thought neither one of them were great shakes. Like, I didn't find them funny or interesting or anything, but, like, you watch Game Night and you can tell, like, the directors have, like, a plan for this movie, and they have a way they want to shoot it, and and then critics see that, and because no comedy is distinctive anymore, they lose their minds over it.
Almost like praise in lieu of quantifying talent, because there's nothing there. There's just not a lot of people out there. Yeah,
there's guys doing good stuff, though. I appreciate
niche people, like people we like.
Well, I mean, like, Michael Showalter had a big hit with The Big Sick. I was pretty proud of him, and
he's niche. He's very.
But I'm
specific.
saying he broke out pretty large with The Big Sick, which made over $100 million at the box office.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you rate this movie?
Stars.
What?
2 stars.
All right, I also give it a 2, Henry.
Okay.
Yeah. What was your favorite piece of product placement in the movie?
Well, now that I know it's real, I guess Water Whiz.
Yeah. That's a good one. I liked when Kevin James danced with a KFC bucket on his head.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, who's your MVP?
Never thought I'd say this on this show. Adam Sandler.
Oh, just straight up going Sandler with it.
Spade made me laugh a lot, but Sandler does a lot of the heavy lifting in this movie, and he's mainly pretty good. And so I'm going Sandler. Yeah.
He certainly does. H-Dog. Who should I go with? Buscemi?
Oh, I'm
going to go with Buscemi.
MVP.
Yes.
He made you laugh at the body cast. I get it.
He did. Who's your LVP?
Rob Schneider.
Yeah, I got to agree. I'm going to go with Rob Schneider.
He's a weak link, and plus he's an asshole.
What do you think of his lady? Do you know her from anything?
No, I didn't look her up, though, because I felt like she looked familiar to me, but I don't know.
Something that is interesting about this actress is... What?
Dead?
No. Actually, I have no idea. Oh. She is alive. No, in the 80s, Henry, a very young Dennis Dugan married a woman about 20 years his senior, and it was this woman. So he is using his experience for the Rob Schneider character and actually cast his ex-wife, who he was married to in the 80s.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That is wild. And in real life, she's Tim Van Patten's sister.
Tim Van Patten, the...
Directed a lot of episodes of Boardwalk Empire and The Sopranos.
Right. Okay. Oh, and Buscemi connection there.
That's true. Yeah. I wonder if that's how if she ended up in this.
Right. Wow. All right.
All right. Next. Is that the movie? Yeah. Let's talk about Grown Ups 2, huh?
Yeah. A few minutes. Yeah.
It came to us 3 years later on the button, Henry. So this must be a perfect sequel.
Obviously.
Dugan's back. Sandler and Fred Wolf writing again. They've added Tim Herlihy to the team. Another old SNL writer.
Yeah, Herlihy boy.
That's right. This one came out June 12th, 2013. The same budget of $80 million. By the way, did you read that after the success of the first movie, Adam Sandler bought all his co-stars Maseratis out of his own pocket?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
They can't afford their own Maseratis? They're all...
Yeah, but Adam Sandler, they don't need them, but Adam Sandler felt like giving some Maseratis to his pals.
Okay.
All right? He's entitled.
Hey, if I could buy you a Maserati, I'd do it.
I would too, Henry. Henry, I would too.
No, you can't drive. You know what I'd do for you?
I would sell it.
I'd buy you... Huh?
I would sell it for a lot of money.
No. I'd buy you your own subway line.
My own subway line? The D train?
You can ride. The D train. Only you are allowed to ride on it. So you have it all to yourself.
That's amazing, Henry.
How fucking great would that be? No stops except when you want to...
I don't really want to go anywhere, though. Can't you just, buy me a penthouse in a really nice building and so I never have to, go outside anymore?
Literally, dude. I'd literally just offered to buy you an underground...
But I think this will be less money and I'll get just as much out of it.
Yeah, I probably would if I had to. Yeah.
A subway line, and you're talking about buying the D train.
I'd rent it for you for a year. Yeah.
Yeah, but you buy me a penthouse permanently.
Yeah. I wouldn't want the D train anyway. If I'd want one that went from the ends of the earth to the other ends of the earth. You probably want an A. Probably the A train.
A's good. Yeah, A goes far. A takes you deep into Queens.
All the way. Even the one, my old train, takes you all the way to the tip of the Bronx and all the way down to the ferry.
I don't want to go to the Bronx.
Yeah, I know. You never
keep me out of the fucking boogie down Bronx, all right? All right.
All right.
Second worst borough, in my humble opinion.
Okay.
What?
Easy up, bro.
Number 1, Brooklyn. Number 2, Manhattan. Number 3, Queens. Number 4, Bronx. 5, Staten. Done.
Everybody says that about Staten, obviously.
Oh, Staten's so bad, I think we should just shit can Staten, replace it with Hoboken, make it a part of New York.
Hoboken's great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, Staten Island has no place being a borough there. In no way does
No.
it really, even demographically.
Shouldn't even be a part of America.
Yeah. No, I don't agree with that ranking at all. Manhattan is obviously the first, number one.
No, of course not.
Obviously.
Not since 9/11. The rankings shifted that day, my friend.
I don't think so. And then I'm going to go... I mean, I want to pick my beloved Bronx, but... I mean, Brooklyn has... Yeah, it's Brooklyn. I hate... But I mean, it's Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens. And I like Queens.
Queens is better than the Bronx.
I like them both.
You can't tell me, like, Astoria. You think Astoria is not as good as the Bronx?
Just pick these rich neighborhoods that you know about. I fucking Astoria.
What? They're all good. Forest Hills, Flushing. I like all those neighborhoods. Yeah.
Great neighborhood.
Agreed.
Queens is great.
Yeah, much better than fucking the Bronx. Bullshit.
I've never even been to the Bronx besides Yankee Stadium.
I had to do my security guard training in the Bronx with an instructor who
I remember this.
Who would just like, he'd go, listen, some fucking liberals are gonna ask you about bathrooms and just say any gender's fine, even though we all know there are only 2 genders. that was the message I got. He also talked at length about how Trump was good for black people.
Jesus Christ, what a fucking place this is. All right.
Yeah, so that's my experience in the Bronx.
Sorry to hear that.
No problem. All right, Grown Ups 2. It made a $247 million at the box office, a little less than the first one, but pretty good. Number 21 for the year between Melissa McCarthy's Identity Thief, and it made slightly more money than The Wolverine. Can you believe that shit? More people wanted to see Grown Ups 2 than Wolverine in his first real solo movie.
Parents took their kids, doubled the profit at the box office.
Did you happen to notice that Grown Ups 2 felt a lot more like a fucking kids movie than the first one?
Well, I actually thought both felt like that, but you're right. The second one is painfully trying.
There's one scene in the second one, all right, where Colin Quinn is trying to get an ice cream machine to work, and some chocolate ice cream starts to come out, and it looks like he's making a sick poop, right? Yeah. Very funny sight gag involving Duty and ice cream. And then
6 years old Duty, why don't you just say it made him look like he was shitting?
I like the word Duty. It's one of the characters from Grease.
Call of Duty,
yeah, duty free stores. And then, so did you happen to notice that at the end of that scene we cut away to one of the kids? I want to say it's Kevin James's son. Okay. And he delivers a line, and it's like kind of a half-assed line, and then he starts to say something else. It looks like he said the setup, and then he's ready to say the punchline, and we cut away to the next scene, Henry.
No, I did not notice
I think it was too hot for TV. Oh. And they were like, we want like a PG on this. I don't know if it's PG or PG-13, but they were like, we want kids to be able to see this movie, and they cut this line.
I actually think that's something, it's kind of shocking neither of us brought that up at all. That was another thing I wasn't expecting. What? Not that I really cared. I totally went into these movies thinking these were going to be rated R movies.
Oh, not
I had
close.
No idea.
Very few Sandler movies are rated R.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, Billy Madison is back in the day, but like since then, I mean, That's My Boy is rated R, but he doesn't make rated R movies that often.
Huh. Well, I mean, that's fine. It was just funny. I guess I'm so used to us watching most kind of. They got something in them, and yeah, they're relatively clean. I mean, there's a lot of innuendo and scatological humor, but there's no
see, with
swearing.
Sandler on the, patreon.com/the franchise, I do a weekly show called We Love Kids Movies with Shut Up Tim. And
I've never heard of that.
Yep. And we actually have covered 2 Adam Sandler movies, Hubie Halloween and Pixels. Okay?
Okay.
So I am very familiar
Dinklage.
with his later... Yeah, Dinklage, for sure. With his later sort of, family work.
Yeah.
He has a family now. He wants to be able to watch movies with them.
Yeah, they all do that.
Yeah.
Fucking Eddie did it. They all do it.
That's why Anakin Skywalker's a fucking little baby. In Phantom Menace,
Oh, because Lucas had a fucking family.
Yeah.
Yeah, great choice.
Yeah, because his kid was like, "What if he's a kid?" And George Lucas was like, "Sure."
Hate that stuff. I gotta say, that's one of my most. That annoys me throughout history of the history of my movie watching is whenever I read a star or a director saying, "I wanted to make something for my kid."
Yeah,
it's like, get him a fucking toy or something. You gotta make him a movie. I mean, that's expensive. It's taking up my time. It's taking up your time. Get him a fucking Hot Wheels or something.
Think about Robert Rodriguez. He threw his entire career away to make movies for his kids.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, just maybe don't have kids and keep making good movies.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I want whatever the opposite of the Texas abortion ban is. All right.
Don't mess with Texas, baby.
Nominated for many awards, Grown-Ups 2.
Right.
Let's start with the Kids' Choice Awards.
Okay, whoa. I thought there'd be repeats, so I wasn't.
There's one repeat.
I didn't have Jackie Martling queue it up yet. Hang on one second.
Oh, a Jackie the Joke Man reference. Is that because you saw a Norm clip on Howard Stern that made you think about Jackie the Joke Man?
No, I saw Artie Lang saying a fucking great joke about...
How did Artie Lang outlive Norm Macdonald?
I don't know. He's not the one who died, Artie Lang?
No. Who died?
Who am I thinking of? The one that from... Are you sure Artie Lang's not
dead?
What
the fuck are you talking about?
I think the guy who killed himself, and I thought it was Artie Lang.
Artie Lang tried to kill himself, but, he's a failure.
Yeah, anyway, no, a joke Norm told Artie Lang when Dirty Work came out, and Artie Lang got a terrible review, specifically saying something, and it's extraordinarily offensive, and it's fucking genius. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, you ready for the Kids' Choice Awards?
Yeah, here we go.
It's the Kids' Choice Awards. It's KCA to you, but it's the kids making the choice, yeah.
All right, Adam Sandler won the award for Best Actor. All right? Best Actor. Grown-Ups 2.
They're kids.
All right, Teen Choice Awards. The teens spoke up about this one.
It's the teen choice award.
Well, we were throwing awards at Taylor Lautner. We loved him. Especially the teens. So he showed up in this movie. What a bad actor.
Let me tell you something.
What a piss poor fucking actor.
Let me tell you something. I swear to God it's the truth, because, I didn't do a ton of research on this movie. When he showed up, I was like, in my head, I was like, I don't think that's Taylor Lautner. No. That's not him, because he's in Twilightsville right now. He wouldn't have been doing this. So I convinced myself that wasn't him. Indeed, it was.
It's easy to convince yourself it's not him because he doesn't seem like he'd be a professional actor. Like, right. He's doing flips in this movie. I can see somebody convincing themselves, oh, this must be like an MMA guy or like a wrestler.
Yeah, he's doing ninja stuff.
Who is this? Is this Dominic Mysterio? Maybe.
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I wish Jean-Claude Van Damme would show up in one of these movies. Should have played David Spade's son.
That'd be great.
Yeah. All right. But Taylor Lautner won the award for Choice Movie Hissy Fit.
Okay.
At the Teen Choice Awards for him spinning around and shit. All right. Finally, the Razzies. A lot of Razzie noms.
All right. So for variety, we'll play Dan's version, which our webmaster Olivia downloaded to our wonderful wig site, thefranchisepod.wixsite.com. I never plug it enough. It's got everything on there. Phenomenal website. Here is Dan's version of Henry's composition.
The raspberry is the razzmatazz, and it's always lacking that little pizzazz, and it's the golden raspberries. It's the worst of the worst, not the best of the best. It's pizzazz gone
Wow, you know what, man? Little David Lee Roth yowl at the end there. I hadn't heard that in a long time. Yeah. That's pretty fucking good, dude.
Many say I have the charisma of a David Lee Roth.
Hey, at least they're not saying you got Sammy Hagar. You don't want that.
Oh, at least they're not saying that third guy, huh? What was that guy's name?
Right? The guy from Extreme?
Yeah. What was that guy's name?
Oh, I don't fucking know. Noodles McGraw or something? I don't know.
Look it up while I'm, whatever. All right, anyway. Worst Picture it was nominated for. Just the worst, straight up worst picture of the year. It lost to Movie 43.
That movie sucks. I saw that. Now,
that's a movie that a lot of people think... There are a lot of conspiracy theories about that movie. That it's actually like a blackmail scheme to catch celebrities that owed taxes.
What?
Yeah.
And they didn't know they were being filmed?
They put them in an embarrassing movie as like collateral. And that's why like Hugh Jackman has balls on his chin in it.
Right. Yeah, that's not accurate. Kate Winslet's in that.
All those people owed back taxes.
Do you believe this conspiracy
theory? I don't believe in the tax part of it, but I think there's something more that we don't know about how that movie got made. I really do.
Really?
I don't know why it exists.
Did you see it?
No. But I mean, I've seen like moments of it on television and it looks completely unprofessional. Like there's so many reputable names attached to that movie as directors and as actors. And it is just, I mean, it's a black mark on every one of their filmographies.
It's incredible. And you're right, because there's so many people in it. Anytime we've ever covered anybody, I've come through that in the filmography. Like, oh, yeah, miss.
So the working theory is there's something more to it, Henry.
I like it. Lead singer, of course, Gary Cherone.
Very good. Yeah, Cherone. I would have gotten that. Yeah.
My Sharona. Yeah.
All right. Worst director, the Razzies. They also went with the team behind Movie 43. Adam Sandler nominated for Worst Actor of the Year, so they disagreed with the kids. But he lost to a kid. And, you know, we forgot to talk about this movie last week in all of our discussion about Jaden Smith. He lost to Jaden Smith in After Earth, of course, the Shyamalan picture.
That's a sweet pick.
Yep. Taylor Lautner and Nick Swardson were both nominated for Worst Supporting Actor for this feature film.
I understand that. Yeah.
And they lost to Will Smith for After Earth. Salma Hayek, Worst Supporting Actress nomination.
That's a little harsh.
And she lost, apparently. Kim Kardashian appeared in a Tyler Perry movie that year.
Okay.
Called Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor.
Sounds great.
I really should see that one.
You need to.
Yeah. Nominated for Worst Screen Combo, you know, the four dudes. They lost to Father and Son for After Earth. Nominated for Worst Prequel, Remake, or Sequel. All right? That really plays into our hands. It lost to Gore Verbinski's The Lone Ranger.
Fucking fair enough. You know how much I hated that.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
I saw that in theaters, man. Holy shit. Yeah.
All right, and screenplay, worst screenplay, lost to movie 43 as well. So let's talk about this film. It opens with Happy Madison Productions presents.
Yeah.
All right, great. Now, Adam Sandler is laying in bed, and Salma Hayek's in bed with him, of course, because they're...
Suspension of disbelief. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, they are obviously a married couple and deeply in love, as was established in the first film. And here we are just catching up with them in their marital bed.
Still had trouble.
All right. And now Sandler looks up. He hears something rustling in the corner. And boy, oh boy, is there a big old deer. Okay? Or maybe an elk.
I mean, I'm with you. I was like, is that an elk or a moose?
Well, it's nothing really because it's just a cartoon.
Yeah, really good CGI. Obviously, a lot of millions went into that.
I really liked all the work they did on the expressions on the deer's eyeballs. Very surprised looking at times.
Couldn't get a deer wrangler. All that money, couldn't get a deer wrangler.
Well, you could have, but then you couldn't do all these special gags with it. So what ended up happening is Sandler goes, Salma Hayek, open up the window. I guess he wants the deer to jump out the window and break all its legs.
Yeah, plummet its death.
Yeah, and Salma Hayek's sleeping, so she's like, let me sleep. And he does, pretty much. And but then Salma Hayek wakes up, sees the deer, screams, and it is established here and followed through in the rest of the film that when a human being screams around a deer, the deer immediately gets up on its hind legs and projectile urinates upon everything in sight. All right? So he pees right in Adam Sandler's face. Sandler, of course, screams, opens his mouth to scream. Salma Hayek has a line, close your mouth. And I'm like,
a lot of yucks.
Crazy that she needed to tell him that. You would think that a man being peed in the face would just, a lot of times in those situations, your brain tells you a signal to close your mouth. You don't need that directive from another.
Anytime that it hasn't been consensual and an animal has pissed in my mouth, I've closed it.
Well, to be fair, I've done it all but one time, so maybe this was that one time for Sandler. I was just curious.
Okay. I understand.
Every so often, you're curious. You try it once.
Yep. I understand 100%. Now,
right? It was a mongoose. All right, it was a mongoose.
I don't blame you. It's semi-exotic animal.
Yeah.
You wonder how it survives.
All right, I did it one other time with a tapir.
With a what? A tapir?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really impressive. Was it the same tapir from 2001?
No.
Did you kill it with a bone?
No. It was in, it was in the Bronx Zoo.
Oh, no wonder you don't like the Bronx. You're banned
I get peed in the face. That's what happens when I go up to the Bronx. Is that
how great would it? How great would it be if deer actually did that to hunters within range of shooting range and just pissed on them?
I wish that they would evolve more defenses to fight hunters.
I know. I agree.
Wouldn't it be great if deer would evolve sort of like a Pokemon into, maybe they have like a projectile antler?
Yeah, projectile antler, opposable thumbs. Maybe they could fire a gun back.
Listen, any animal I would think would benefit
Darwin?
From opposable thumbs.
No, it's true.
I'm surprised more animals don't have opposable thumbs. They're helpful.
It's very, very true.
Like, how are these animals growing up with hoofs? How's that helpful?
It's not, especially if you're like a billy goat and you're trying to climb down a mountain, a snowy mountain. You'd slip and slide.
Oh my! What a scene you're painting.
Yeah, snowy mountain. I
feel like David Attenborough should be narrating this.
The billy goat gruff must go down a treacherous 800-kilometer mountain in Kilimanjaro. Very few men have ever trekked this far. Our cameras are...
But a couple have?
Special... What?
A couple have. have trekked?
I'm just repeating.
All right.
From Attenborough,
All right, so we're checking in with Sandler, and that's what's going on with him. And then what's going on? Kevin James, is this where he falls out of the pool?
The first movie, yeah.
Really? Hey, did we
Said that.
Is this one or the other one the movie where they pee in the pool and it turns blue?
That's both.
That's both. Oh, it's the Call It Back.
In the first movie, it's in Water Whiz, and in the second movie, it's Shaq.
Oh yeah.
In the pool of Sandler.
There's a lot of characters in this movie. What an all-star cast.
Now I have to ask you a question, and this is a genuine question. It's two questions, a two-parter. Okay,
I
know you like. Yeah, I know you like these. It's a genuine question. A, do I know Nick Swardson? I do.
No, what's B?
That's the first question. You have to answer that first.
All right, Nick Swardson. You probably know his stand-up. They used to air it on Comedy Central a lot when he was like younger and thinner.
In movies I've seen, he's not like a.
He's mostly in Sandler stuff. Like, he's a guy that, like, they were trying for a while, like, to break him out of stand-up, and it wasn't really panning out. They couldn't get him a TV deal. And then Sandler took a liking to him.
Then I don't know him. Okay.
All right. I think the first thing Sandler-related he was in was, he's in that Benchwarmers flick.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was a two-part question. That was part one. B, you see what I did there? There was a numbered.
Oh, yeah, good.
And it's a letter for the second part.
That's funny, because it's annoying when people do that.
Right. It's funnier than what my second question is leading to. Did anything Nick Swardson do in this movie make you laugh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think Nick Swardson's pretty bad in this. I don't really know what the fuck. Yeah, he does a lot of weird shit that occasionally will spike a bit of laughter out of me.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't.
He's a bus driver. So the movie's about nothing at all. But in the movie...
That's really true. Like, as much as the first one.
This movie makes the first one look like fucking Chinatown.
Yeah, this... I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know what to do here. I mean, they went to Kmart, then they go.
Oh, that was good product placement.
Then they go home, and the only reason Kmart's good is because that's where they run into Tim Meadows, and
they run into everyone at that fucking Kmart. Jonathan Lugren is there, who is literally Adam Sandler's assistant, who just shows up and stuff. He's the one with the wonky eye.
Is that a real wonky eye?
He always has it, so I think it's real, but he exaggerates it in these movies. Anyway, yeah, they run into fucking Peter, Dante, and Shaq in the parking lot. Dante's another one of just Sandler's pals. Yeah, they replaced Rob Schneider with like, we'll replace one of my famous friends with 9 of my not famous friends.
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, Swardson's in there. Who did they run into at one point? They're like, I feel like they're chatting all over that Kmart.
Well, they run into the whole Colin Quinn gang, essentially.
Well, not Colin Quinn. We don't run into him later until the ice cream stand.
Sherry O'Terry.
That's right. Sherry O'Terry is in this movie. Well, she's not at Kmart, though.
The grocery store.
No, later at the grocery store, but she's working in Salma Hayek's little boutique shop.
That was weird that she would speak to her boss like that.
Yeah, well, what we've done in this movie is it's set in the same little hamlet as the last movie.
Right.
But, in the last movie, they were there on vacation. So in this movie, it's sort of like very briefly explained at the beginning that they've just decided to move back to Sandler's hometown. And I guess Hayek's okay with it just because Sandler's loaded. Right. So she opens up this little boutique, and Sherry O'Terry works there. Sherry O'Terry's had a lot of facial surgeries that make her look very weird. And
do you think she did, or she just aged poorly? I couldn't tell if she...
I can tell that she has lots and lots of fillers in her face.
Little bit of Botox going on there.
I think a little bit is being ridiculously generous.
Come on now.
She looks like an alien, like a. Yeah. Anyway,
right.
I always like Cheri Oteri, but yeah, she plays. She dated Adam Sandler when they were in 6th grade, and she still like holds a thing for him. And she keeps like a note, and this was like a storyline they were setting up that I was a little bit interested in. I was like, where are they going to go with this? And then like Hayek was like, meet me at the mailbox. Like, so like Cheri Oteri tried to like get in contact with Sandler because she wants to like steal him away from Salma Hayek. And she says like, meet me at the mailbox at 11. And Hayek implies that he's going to, but then... And so I thought like Salma Hayek was going to show up at the mailbox and like get her revenge on Cheri Oteri, but then we just never do anything with that story again.
Yeah. One thing that does differentiate the two movies is that while they're mostly human behaviors that humans don't have, the first one was a little closer to how people talk to each other, and this movie... Nobody's vocabulary, actions, interactions are based on anything in this world.
Well, they're ridiculous. It's a one-day movie, so it's like a one crazy day, and it's just that you're not living in reality right from the beginning, from the fucking deer pissing in his face, because like that's a thing they would have had to struggle to set up in the first one. And make it seem normal. Like this movie, we're already being told like this is a broader, stupider world than we saw in the first movie. And then that's only amplified when Nick Swardson shows up to take them to school in the bus, and he's passed out, like high from the night before, stoned, and Sandler just like takes the bus and like hangs up Nick Swardson from the ceiling of the bus and drives the kids to school and then drives the bus to Kmart. It's like none of this shit would ever happen. And then like they weekend at Bernie's Nick Swardson with the principal of the school by putting him on a system of pulleys. It's just ridiculous. And none of it's funny, and it's all too broad. It's all too stupid. None of the characters you could really latch onto. Like, anytime anyone's, like, talking serious about something in this movie, like, you're half out because there's fake deer piss.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's nothing going on in this one, man. I mean, it's still not... It's not an unwatchable movie, but it's just
close.
It is close. And I don't do this usually, but, like, I almost never do this. But, like, if I have to, like, go... take my own deer piss, I'll pause it while I do that. I did not pause the movie.
I was pausing this, baby. I didn't want to miss any punchlines.
You didn't miss any. I took a piss. I didn't care. Didn't matter.
While you were going to take a piss, Henry, did you cut off any burp snarts?
I hope that I did, and I hope that I didn't see more than I had to.
That's a very important plot point in this film, is that Kevin James's character can, in succession, he, what does he do? He belches, then he sneezes, then that triggers a fart. And he does this many times in the movie, and then Adam Sandler does it at the very end, and that's how we close out the movie. It's the last thing in the movie. It's like, let's go to credits, making them feel good. We saw another burp snart.
It's really inventive. I think they definitely put some few drafts into that idea. All the minds were at work here. This is just one of those movies where I'm literally just thinking like, we've said this before, but I actually just want to watch. Not the movie. I'd rather just watch like these guys sitting around bullshitting. Just at any point.
It's the old Siskel line. Siskel
Right.
always said, "What's better, this movie or a documentary of the same actors having lunch?" And almost certainly in this case, especially when you're adding Shaquille O'Neal to the mix, I definitely want to watch them have lunch.
Yeah. So it sucks. Yeah.
It pretty much sucks, but you know, it had its moments, I guess.
Jim Meadows, I'm gonna say for the 10th time, those moments, man.
Let's go through the plots, because they sort of threatened to have plots. Hey, what was up with the weird runner in this movie where they kept discovering their kids were secret geniuses?
I only remember, the football kick, Sandler's son, the pianist being son.
Kevin James' son.
Star being a singer.
That's right.
Spade's son, what, he can fight? I don't know.
You know, he's just a likable kid, likable fellow. Okay. I mean, I guess that one doesn't fit the bill. But
good call. I didn't even connect the dots.
It's very weird. I don't know what this says. I mean, the narcissism on display in these films is truly astounding. The level of rich you have to be in order to write down these thoughts and jokes is truly impressive. I
totally right. By the way, I'm just catching here in the credits. Dennis Dugan played the doctor who put the cast on.
He's also the referee of the basketball game in the first one. He likes to appear in his own movie. It's like he's much like the Alfred Hitchcock of comedy, I would say.
That's what I thought of.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the cameos. What'd you think of John Lovitz perving on the fitness class?
I've never been a particularly big fan of John Lovitz. And he failed to make me laugh in this.
Well, as a particular fan of John Lovitz.
No, I mean, real fan or like he's so bad he's funny?
No,
fan?
I fucking love John Lovitz. I think he's great. Yeah, I think he's so funny. I think he's so good in that last season of News Radio when he replaced Hartman. I love him in the Sandler movies. I think he's really funny in The Wedding Singer.
He is funny in The Wedding Singer, I'll give you that.
Yeah, I love John Lovitz. He shows up and shit and makes me laugh. What did I just see him in? He played somebody's brother in something. It was good. Anyway.
I don't hate him. I'm just not, when I think of that crew back then,
he's crucial to me. He's one of the names.
Not to me, yeah.
All right.
A lot of things here. You got Taran Killam. You get Will Forte.
Oh, well, that was the whole crew where they went to the sexy lady car wash. Because Kevin James was checking out the ballet instructor. Okay?
Correct.
And, Maria Bello was like, that's okay. I check out boys. Let's go to this sexy lady car wash. You can really get your rocks off, buddy. So they go, and the sexy ladies are moving on to a different car. They get the sexy boys.
Right.
So it's a very big gay panic scene. And it's all of the SNL guys, pretty much. Yeah, Taran Killam, Will Forte. Who else?
Andy Samberg.
Yeah, actually all three Lonely Islanders were involved.
Oh, all right. There you go.
Yeah.
I also,
as Norm Macdonald consistently referred to them, Samberg and the other two guys.
That's great. I knew I caught in the fake soap opera James is watching with his mother, Chris Berman.
What is happening here where Adam Sandler has decided he wants to use Sports Center personalities in his films?
I have no idea.
Because now we have Dan Patrick as well as Chris Berman.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was expecting Stuart Scott to show up. Where was Rich Eisen?
Where was John Madden on the Water Whiz doing a cannonball?
Oh, that would be great, actually. Get John Madden in these. Is he dead?
Where's OJ?
Oh, my God. Definitely bring back OJ. Just don't bring him to set on the same day Norm has his ass out.
Oh, boy. I just saw here one of the frat boys was one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's offspring.
Yeah, the three... the most of the frat kids were extras, but the frat boys were Taylor Lautner was obviously the main one, and then he had support from Milo Ventimiglia on his left. I didn't recognize
him at all.
Well, he had different color hair. He was doing weird shit.
Oh,
yeah.
he's the blonde kid with the handshake.
Exactly. Yeah, he's the one doing the handshake with Lautner. He's, of course, we covered him in Rocky Balboa and Creed 2.
Right.
And and there are sorority girls in that scene too, because remember the kids are trying to infiltrate that party, and one of those is Ali Machalka, of course, from Ali and AJ. You familiar? All right. Well, Spade's kid, who I actually thought was funny.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was not terrible. That whole entire setup is horrendous.
Yeah,
and
real stupid.
Real
but you
bad,
know what? There were bits that made me laugh. I thought, I'm so sorry, but I thought David Spade referring to the mother of his baby as Hiccups McGee was very funny to me.
Funny because I didn't think that one was that funny, and all of his stuff lands with me.
And I liked when they showed the son was carrying a picture of his dad, and it was just like a hand-drawn stick figure that vaguely resembled David Spade.
That was funny.
Yeah.
That was, yeah. No, that was definitely funny.
All right. Who else? We have Oliver Hudson, who was the head of the fitness class, the gay fella.
Okay, I don't know him.
Of course, that's Kate Hudson's brother.
Oh my God! Look at you. You should write. You should really write for Teen Vogue.
Well, I mean, he's in the movie because David Spade was on that show, Rules of Engagement, for all those years, and this dork was the lead of that show.
Oh, I can't believe you haven't mentioned one of your heroes yet.
Wait, hang on. I don't know who you're talking about, Henry. Could it possibly be? Wait. Oh, who's coming to the ring? Oh my God, it's Austin! It's Austin! All right, yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the greatest wrestler of all time, is in this film.
All right.
Well, Mount Rushmore. And, he's, he does the job. He's meant to be intimidating.
He's fine. I didn't have an issue with him.
Yeah. I wish they would have given him something. Like, he gets in that big fracas at the end of the movie. I wanted to see him Stone Cold stun somebody.
Yeah, that was a really stupid sequence. Really stupid, because it had no point. Like, I thought at the end there'd be some reconciliation, or they'd all end up partying together. And no, a deer comes out after like a 38-minute fight, and they just scatter. And it's like, what was all that for? You know,
nobody knows. Nothing's for anything, though. All of these storylines that we're bringing up, like, all these storylines get set up. Like, the kids are all geniuses, and David Spade has a son. What? And none of it's resolved. What? Oh my God! Tim Meadows' kid's name was Bumpty too. That's a very funny character name. Bumpty. All right. What about? How'd you feel? Halston Sage. Halston Sage showed up. Were you excited about that?
What the fuck? You're throwing these names at me that you know I'm not going to know, which is great. I'm enjoying it. Halston Sage, of course, the subject of the Ewan McGregor Netflix biography.
Halston. Yeah, Emmy winner. Now, Halston Sage was playing a teen in this movie. Of course, she was the love interest of one of Adam Sandler's sons working at the ice cream store.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what might surprise you, considering she was playing a love interest to one of Adam Sandler's sons in this movie, is that about 3 years after this movie came out, she dated Seth MacFarlane for a long time.
Really?
Yeah. She was on that show, she was on that show, The Orville, that he created, and then she quit the show when they broke up.
Yeah, she was... How old was she? She was 20 years old when this movie was made.
Right, so, Seth waited a couple of years and then snatched her up.
All right, well, whatever. It's Hollywood.
Yeah. Sure. All right. Sure. Anything else? Any other great new characters that you want to discuss?
Jake Kyles. Always
Jake Kyles' band was in this film.
Always a character, and he has the fucking nerve to not play the only song anyone gives a fuck about, which I can't remember right now.
It's like when
Love Stinks or Centerfold. I don't think does he play.
I think they played Centerfold, man.
No, not a fan.
And then sound cuts out, and Chris Rock's daughter is singing along because she's shy. She's never sung in public before, but she didn't notice that the sound cut out. That's not something you notice when all of the sound at a major concert shuts off.
That's one of my favorite tropes in movies when characters are singing along and all the sound cuts out. It's done a lot.
Yeah.
And I never really understood it, but
hey, I wrote down a line. Remind me what this was. I wrote, "She found me eating a banana with my butt."
That was Swardson saying why his wife left him after 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. She found me eating a banana. And honestly, if you found your significant other eating a banana with their butt, you'd wonder about that relationship.
Yeah, you'd want their fetish to be, honey, you can tell me anything, if that's what's your vegetables or fruits or your thing,
Yeah. I mean, it's better than, anything with edges, plastic stuff.
It's, if it was peeled, but if it wasn't peeled, that's going to be a digestion problem.
That's a good question. Yeah. Was it? It would have to be unpeeled, I would think.
Doesn't have to be anything, baby. Whatever floats your boat.
Great point. Who am I judging fetishes for?
Yeah. No.
All right.
No.
Anyway, I mean that's what goes on in this movie. What do you give it?
I think we did more than enough justice to this movie, to be honest. We overgilded the lily, as they say. My MVP. Oh, I'm giving it 1 star.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Agreement on this too. MVP's Tim Meadows.
Same. Yeah, I was gonna go Meadows on this one too. I almost met him on the last one, but I knew I had him locked and loaded for this one.
Yeah. My LVP. I mean, fucking hell, I had a tough time, but then I did remember how just unfunny this guy was, and he's supposed to be a big laugh riot, I think. So Nick Swardson.
Oh, to me, Nick Swardson added more value to this film than Taylor Lautner.
Fair enough. I'm sticking with mine, but that's a good.
That's fine. Call. I will say people were pretty hyped about us possibly covering Twilight in November, so maybe we'll do that.
I understand. I'm down. I'm down.
All right, Henry. Grown Ups. Another one in the books.
Another one.
How do you rank them? 1, 2, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That's rankings.
Anyway, these are terrible, but God bless Adam Sandler. I love that guy. All right. All right. Leave us a 5-star rating or review on iTunes. Patreon.com/thefranchise. We got a lot of fun stuff coming your way. This week on We Love Kids Movies, Tim and I are talking about Operation Dumbo Drop with Danny Glover and Dennis Leary and Ray Liotta and the Dumbo. And then we'll be talking on Comp Beasts about the last 3 Lego Masters, in addition to Big Brother, Survivor, The Challenge, and The Circle. Packed show this week. And Henry and I got some stuff coming down the pike as well.
Oh, yeah. Got 2 from us coming not too in the distant future. I lost my train of sentence there.
Yeah. And if you're at AEW Dynamite at Arthur Ashe Stadium Wednesday night, come say hello.
Yeah. Danny boy.
If you're there, I know you're vaccinated, and I don't mind talking to you.
Getting his suplex on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they still do those.
I hope so.
Crucial move. What about a superplex? You familiar with that?
I don't know if I know the superplex.
That's a suplex off the top turnbuckle.
Oh, sure. Yeah, only 1 or 2 people could execute that in my day.
now they all do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, my day, the wrestlers were about as in shape as I was, and they were drunk a lot, so it was perfect.
They're still drunk a lot.
No, that's good.